The Macro Think organization says there are four important perspectives of political development. They are stability and gradual change of political development and awareness, political participation and mass mobilization, nation building and a sense of national dignity in international affairs. In the past few weeks, Nigeria has had to confront one of these concepts at one time or the other to define the status of its journey in political development. Today on Political Update, we will examine the phenomenon of cohesion through better understanding of the three arms of government and the quest for development, peace and prosperity. I am Fisayo Ogunfuyi. Welcome. The Presidential Election Petition Tribunal on Wednesday dismissed the petition filed by Atiku Abubakar and the People's Democratic Party (PDP) challenging the February 23rd election of President Muhammadu Buhari. The five-man panel, headed by Justice Muhammad Garba, in a unanimous judgment, dissolved all issues in favor of President Buhari, the All Progressives Congress (APC), and the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC). Vera Chiwoba gives a breakdown of that judgment in this report.
In a 9 hours painstaking judgment of the Presidential Election Court, the court first resolved all preliminary applications before delving into the substantive issues. The 5 grounds of petition include non-qualification and false information, non-election by majority of lawful vote cast, corrupt practices, and non-compliance with the Electoral Act. The court resolved all issues in favor of President Buhari, APC, and INEC. On the issue of non-qualification and false information, the court held that President Buhari is not only qualified, but eminently qualified to run for the presidency of the country, as contained in Form 199A, which showed how he obtained his WAEC certificate in 1961 with 5 credits in relevant subjects. On the issue of non-majority of lawful vote cast, the court held that the petitioners failed to prove the allegations of irregularities in any of the states where the alleged overvoting took place or presented documents to prove the allegation. Non-compliance with the Electoral Act was also another issue raised, but the court said the Electoral Act made no provision for electronic conduct of elections, collation and transmission of results at all levels in Nigeria. The chairman of the panel, Justice Muhammad Garba, however, commended the brilliance exhibited by the counsel in their written addresses.
Let's now take some reactions from Nigerians and friends of the ruling All Progressives Congress on that judgment.
First of all, congratulations to His Excellency, Mr. President. Congratulations to the All Progressives Congress. Congratulations to Nigerians. And above all, congratulations to the Nigerian judiciary, because in the analysis of all the issues and in the transparency of delivery of all the entire judgment, every person listened to it and the judiciary acquitted itself excellently. One thing I would want Nigerians to take is that the entire judgment turned on the Electoral Act. And so this is a challenge to the National Assembly, that let them listen and take the judgment as it is, and then listen to all the issues that the judges analyzed, and then fill the gap and make a very comprehensive 1-volume Electoral Act for Nigeria.
It's a judgment that is well considered. It's a landmark judgment. They took everything into consideration. At least one thing that is clear is that this judgment have put to rest the promotion of hype, the promotion of sensationalism and sentiment in the social media.
We feel good. We feel happy. We Nigerian women and grassroots, we are very happy with that today's judgment. We are very happy. We thank God for that. Just next level, continue.
It is a victory for democracy, that it will enrich the democratic process. The issue of certificate have been settled. There will be no issue of with this judgment. It has clearly give a lot of eye-opening.
Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, which filed the petition, had this to say.
We have a legal team. The legal team is going to study the judgment and advise us on the next step to take. So that's why we have been here for 9 hours.
All right, joining us in the studio today is Dr. Kayode Ajulo, a legal practitioner. Dr. Ajulo, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Now we spoke at the beginning of the program. We're talking about our democracy, strengthening our democracy, and going through all the processes. Is it adjudication? Is it even making of laws and all that? It's a 20-year cycle. You've seen a judgment. You've heard the judgment on Wednesday and all that. But it's a 20-year cycle for this, republic, of course, in Nigeria. What will be your, comments at this time, looking at, are we maturing as a nation?
Well, certainly we are matured. We are getting there. We're getting there, particularly when you see that about 20 years ago, that's when the journey for this new dispensation, that's when the journey began. And you can see the first time, the second time, you can see the litany, the numbers of cases in courts. And initially before, we don't even know when the case there is no timeline for the end of such cases. But as of now, we know that we have the numbers of time when we know all these cases will be over, and that is one. And again, the jurisprudence, particularly on electoral law, is developing, and I believe from this judgment there will be one or two things I believe the National Assembly should think of doing so that they can strengthen more. Because you can, if you notice, one of the judges raised the issue of the time given to prove most of the case, that you need more time, and there must be some other things. I believe the National Assembly, so far, that they are the one that have the responsibility for fixing and for making the laws for us. And I believe through most of these our engagement, we know what to do, and the National Assembly should take note of most of this and then look for a way how we can continue to develop, particularly our legal system.
From the perspective of the petitioner, any grounds for appeal?
Well, from the perspective, I'm a lawyer, and I'm not a member of any of the petitioner, both the PDP and the Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. I don't think if you ask me from my perspective, from what I've seen in court, I was there from the first day till the day the judgment and ruling was given. I don't think there's any need for any appeal, though it is their constitutional right to appeal. But if you ask me, if I must be one of their counsel, I believe we need to let it go, because the justice was done. You need to see this is the judgment and ruling that took almost 9 hours, and this is where all the issue was raised, analyzed, distilled, and well considered. And I believe, and another thing I need to raise again is this: when you look at the judgment, you find out that I can't say that there is maybe a new law or a new authority has been developed from there. What you consider that the judgment, the judges refer to most of all the other authority to settle this issue. If it comes to the issue of the qualification to contest the office of the president, it's so clear that the purport and the meaning, and that's the letter and the meaning of the Constitution, is to the point that what matters most is attendance. And that is what happened. And this is not the first time. If you remember the case of Adeleke, that's the one in Osun, when somebody said he's not qualified because he had F9.
Yeah. Let me ask you from from a layman's perspective. We've spoken about Nigeria's democratic cycle so far. Has the judiciary been able to acquit itself in its, for instance, contribution to this democracy? Has it been able to at least eloquently, acquit itself in its interpretation and also strengthening, the institutions that held our democracy so strong?
I heartily believe and honestly believe that judiciary has been able to do that. And if you want answer to that, what happened 2 days ago really showed what it is. To give such judgment and to distill it, and I believe, except for the partisanship, except that because of political coloration, ask any lawyer that what is up, we give kudos to judiciary.
Now let me ask you, apart from being a lawyer, apart from being a legal practitioner, you are also a politician. Not so long ago you were the secretary of the Labour Party. Now looking at this, our political space as a politician, rivalries and contentions, some would say have been particularly unhealthy from the podium in terms of the verbal jousting. How do we begin to tone down and focus more on the low-hanging fruits of development?
Yes, let me read first. When it comes to issue of all the side attraction, it's expected, it's inevitable, particularly when it's all about struggle of power. Like I do tell people, it's not a tea party. It is a real struggle, but I believe the politician need to abide by the rules of the game. Unfortunately, some of them always try to move away from the point and try to make something, and that's why I always believe that there should be law there to take care of whosoever that choose to cross the line. But as it is, politicians need to keep their food, to keep their sight on, like what you mentioned, low-hanging fruit, which abounds as it is now. Everybody knows this what it is. And again, they should not forget one thing, that irrespective of whatsoever may be our struggle, everything boils down to the people, because power belongs to them. But unfortunately today, everything always seems that if it is not me, then nothing should happen. I think we should look for a way to stop it.
In about 2 months from now, just about 2 months and 2 days, there'll be elections in 2 states, Kogi and Bayelsa. Already, the politicians are gathering, the podium is open, people are making promises as usual. I put this question to one of my guests last week. Is it just about elections for politicians? What about the intervening years, reaching out to the populace, mass mobilization, consciousness towards development, and making, the movement a collective one, and not just for those on the podium?
This is one of the things that have been agitating my mind too, because everything always seems to boil down to election. But we should not lose the fact that election in Nigeria and most of the places is another mechanism to really try to measure development. Because it's expected that in a situation where you fail, you refuse to do what is expected, you refuse to dance to the tunes of the people, their aspiration and yearning for better society is not met. All they need to do is to use the same election to kick you out. I think, and I believe, if we get it right, our election is done in accordance to the rules, into the rule of law and regulation. It is another mechanism to ensure that we have a better society. Because if I, as a politician seeking your vote, I need to look for your development, because when it comes to development, that's when people will give you accolade. That's when people, and that accolade we turn around for vote for you. And anybody that refuses to, non-performing elected officials should be thinking now, because election is at hand, to make sure to at least to leave them.
You've gone on the podium yourself. You've participated in elections as a candidate for your party in some elections, especially even here in the FCT. What are your experiences? Share with us. What are the challenges? Reaching out to the people, trying to make people, canvassing for votes, and then trying to, get the confidence of people, to be, a part of the process and perhaps support you. What are the challenges a young politician can face in the field?
As a politician, what you need is trust of the people. Trust, you need to get their trust. They need to believe in you, and to believe that, look, it's more like giving them their mandate, giving their mandate to you to ask you to represent them. But unfortunately, if I must talk about my experience, unfortunately, it seems that the people have been so beaten down to the point that as little as a little amount of money makes them to think otherwise. And that has been so sad. And these are the things that's why most of us always talked about this campaign against vote buying. Because when it comes to election, the right thing a politician is supposed to do, they seem to keep all the money to let us wait when the election will come. All we need is to roll out some money, 10 naira, 2 naira, and I believe people will be running over each other, which is quite a sad story. And I think we need to look for a way.
Let me pick your brains a bit. We started this conversation talking about, the court processes. We've seen perhaps at the, states and National Assembly and state tribunals, and some of them have said, oh, they don't have jurisdiction over this. This was a pre-election issue and all that. Why do these things come up? Is it a challenge that some of these things have not been taken care of in terms of pre-election issues before now you have those issues when you now are coming to the post-election adjudications?
Well, issue are dealt with as they come. I believe sometimes some people maybe, and that is why I see that this petition, when you are filing a petition, you don't have to be emotional about it. You have to first consult the law, because election process is something that's been guided by the law. Anytime you fall out of the law, you find yourself out of it. And that's why you see most of these issues where the court will tell you we don't have the jurisdiction. Like what was filed, you will find out this is where the petitioner raised the issue against some institution. And unfortunately, such institutions were not brought to the court to defend themselves. So who's going to defend them? Is it going to be the respondent who has nothing to do with such people you laid allegation against? And that is why maybe I should use this opportunity to explain that when it comes to election petition, it is not about sentiment, it's not about emotion, it is about law. And this law, the rules, regulation, and guidelines, this must be followed. And that's why the court will always tell you that when it comes to the election issue, it is sui generis. You don't use maybe equity, even to me, seem to go.
Is our political space opening up for more inclusion in terms of youths and women? Let's say in terms of elected positions.
I want to believe that it's opening up, but we are not yet there.
How can we get there?
I think what we need to do is open the pace, empower a lot of people. When you ask many people today, why are they not doing this? They will tell you, well, yes, I'm yet to really have you deal with that. Most of them, those that are supposed to be represented people are still job applicants taking their CV credentials up and down. And these are one of the major problems. And I think we need to look for a way where it won't only be what you have to represent your people. It should be the trust, and trust should it be.
Dr. Ajulo will still come for closing remarks, but let's move on now to some more political stories. It seems the rumbles in Edo State politics will go on for a while longer. Now, John Mayaki, a member of the party APC there, is challenging the exclusion of 14 elected members of the State House of Assembly from the first session of the Assembly on the 17th of June this year. Mayaki alleges that 10 members, in collusion with the clerk, acted in the breach of paragraph 19, schedule 5 part 1 of the 1999 Constitution by putting themselves in a position where personal interests conflict with their duties and responsibilities, which is contrary to government policies. Now, I'll just say watch the space. We'll continue to give you updates from there. Earlier in the week, we also spoke with the chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Comrade Adams Oshiomhole, and was talking about resolving all these issues so that there will be a unified front from that quarter. Moving on now, the Buhari Support Organization has been speaking on strengthening democratic institutions. Let's take that report.
The 2019 general election was another opportunity for the electoral umpire, INEC, and the electorate to prove their capacity to conduct and participate in a seamless electoral process. After what is described as a largely credible process, victors emerged, while aggrieved parties sought legal redress in elections petition tribunals. For supporters of President Muhammadu Buhari, victory at the Elections Petition Court is a reaffirmation of the choice of Nigerians expressed at the polls.
We are supposed to come in and exhibit what good governance is all about. That is what we have campaigned on. Our promise has been that we are going to bring in a change.
Former leader of the organization and Minister of Environment, Mahmoud Abubakar, sees this victory as an opportunity to deliver good governance to all Nigerians.
He is not just qualified, but eminently qualified. We knew that. That's why we went everywhere, nooks and corners of this country to tell people that this is somebody that is qualified, compassionate, honest, and incorruptible.
Having achieved its objective of electoral victory for the president, the group says it would transmute into an organization for good governance with focus on patriotism and value reorientation for all Nigerians. In Abuja, Onengiye Fine Face, NTA News.
Having lost the government house out there in Yola, APC Adamawa says it is recalibrating for greater success in future elections.
Adamawa is one of the states where the All Progressives Congress lost the chance to have its incumbent governor re-elected during the 2019 governorship election. This meeting is aimed at readdressing some of the issues identified for the party's poor performances. It is expected to come out with strategies that will enable the state return to the progressive family.
forget about what had transpired and forge ahead, particularly now that the court system, at least at the tribunal level, has granted our men to our principal, the president, the full go-ahead to continue with his mandate.
Anybody that we feel aggrieved, the committee will visit that person, hear him out, and see the possible remedies that we can give him immediately that will bring him back on board to work as a unit in Adamawa State.
Similarly, the acting national secretary of the APC, Victor Giadom, has assured party supporters in Rivers State of a level playing ground ahead of the party's congresses scheduled to hold in the state.
That is why we have decided that as a party we must send a committee to the state to ensure that everybody is allowed the access to contest this election.
The APC has scheduled to conduct ward, local government and state congresses between 17th to 30th September 2019. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
That has been Political Update today. Let me quickly thank our guest today, Dr. Kade Ajulo, for coming. Hopefully you will participate in the process in future elections. I wish you the very best. That's been Political Update for today. Join us on Tuesday for a fresh package. I'm Fisa Ogunfe, thanking you for being part of it. Have a great weekend.